Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you
That's
like
right.
that.
We are back. Welcome to the new year, 2020. This Peace Corner. Dang, you gonna cut it off the beat like that? What's going on with it? All right, welcome to Peace Corner. I'm your host, Peter Soprano, aka the Sports Guy. To my right, D Money Drizzy Dre.
Welcome back, people.
And like I said, we are back for the new year. First show of 2020 while we're live back here at Bogies in Clifton. Come down here. Food is great. Get some
feels
good
good to
drinks.
be back, man.
And it is good to be back. And we're back after having a crazy weekend of football.
Wow, man.
Having a crazy national championship playoff games going into the national
What a
championship.
roller coaster. What an unfold of events we've been having in sports in general.
But we did call that what national championship. We did say it was going to be LSU versus Clemson, and that's what we got.
I hope you guys listen too.
Exactly. So we got that. We'll get that topic a little bit later. This past weekend, we got through the pro football first round wild card weekend.
Wow. What a wild weekend it was.
Crazy matchup, especially the Saturday game.
What a wild weekend
Titans
it was.
beat the Patriots. Listen, I called 3 out of 4 of those games, so you guys should have listened before. So, but with that said, we getting right into the next week, and now we got the divisional matchups. Saturday, first game of the week. San Francisco 49ers open up. Finally, number 1 seed against the surprising Minnesota Vikings as they beat the New Orleans Saints last week in overtime. So right now, Rams. Wow.
Whoa.
Rams. See, they've been so bad with me this year. They can't get out of my head. All right,
Listen, leave that in 2019.
You know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm thinking? When the 49ers, there was a game where they beat the Rams, and there was like same sorry ass Rams.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was thinking. So, with that said, boo the Rams.
That's right.
The 49ers are a 7-point favorite. What do you like in this game?
This is an interesting matchup. I mean, I don't know about you, but I didn't expect Minnesota to go into the Superdome and do what they did.
No.
It's crazy how the two.
I blame more the Saints though.
It's crazy how
It's the Saints' fault.
Yeah.
Well,
Chokers.
absolutely. But you know what? When I look at those wild card division games, the same way Tennessee, caught everybody. Well, not everybody, but most people by surprise. And Minnesota did the same exact thing going into the Superdome. They caught me by surprise, and that was completely New Orleans' fault, but Minnesota took advantage. Good teams find ways to win, and that's exactly what they did.
Mm-hmm.
They found a way to pound the ball, not create mistakes, and to capitalize on dumb moments that New Orleans decided to, for whatever reason, go with. But this is a tricky game. I do have respect for Minnesota's defense.
Mm-hmm.
And San Francisco's defense is a little iffy, but their offense,
Especially the past month or so.
But their offense, has been great. We know they're going to show up. If you ask me who's going to win, I think San Fran's going to win. I like Minnesota to cover those 7 points. You said it's +7, correct?
Yes.
I like them to. I like them to cover those points. I think it'll be like a 4 to 6 point type of game. San Fran, I could even see them winning by a field goal. It's that close of a game though, but I do like Minnesota to cover those 7 points.
Listen, if you're gonna go off of like pure regular season numbers, this is a bad matchup for San Fran.
Absolutely,
because Minnesota has a really good run defense. San Fran, that's what their bread and butter was running the ball. The one thing that I don't like is that, and I'm not even going to talk about what may have happened earlier today. Thielen may have gotten hurt. We don't know if he's going to play.
That's right, by the way.
But I'm not even going to count that right now. What I'm going to count, even assuming that he's going to play, I like the 49ers to cover the spread. There's a couple reasons why. They are going to be super hyped off that crowd, and that crowd has been huge for them this year. Every time you see them play at home, they get off to big starts. They're just energized by that crowd. So I think that's going to be huge for them. And I think that because having that bye week, we saw some of their players start to get tired in the second half of the year. That's going to rest Bosa. D Ford comes back. That's the first time he's played in 6 weeks. So they got their pass rushers back.
Wow, yeah.
So I think they're going to be between the pass rushers, the crowd. I think they're going to go after them. And plus, if you look at the 49ers over the past 6 weeks, I'm going to ignore all that because I'll take the booing because I'm picking the right thing right now. Listen. But if you look at what they've done the past 6 weeks, they've passed the ball. They actually haven't run the ball that well. So that goes against what should be going on right now.
the first challenge of the year.
I'm about to punt that. But listen.
I'm challenging that call.
Listen, I don't care what you challenge with this. The call stands. All right. The 49ers are going to go out in this game, and I think they're actually going to beat the shit out of Minnesota. I think they're going to win this game by more than 2 touchdowns.
I hope so.
And I think that this is their chance to finally shine. But you will know about this game within the first 2-3 minutes of this game, and I'll tell you the reason why. I expect the 49ers to come out early and score a lot in the first quarter. They may score 2 touchdowns in the first quarter in this game. If Minnesota can keep it close in the first quarter, maybe tied 3 points down, then we may have a battle for the rest of the game, because that's the crowd is going to energize them for the first quarter, and that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to give them the boost, and I think they're going to come out and score early. So with that said, I got the 49ers, you got Minnesota. Let's move on to the Saturday night game. Baltimore Ravens, a 9.5 favorite over Tennessee, and they also have a 46.5 point spread. Not sure if you're picking one, not sure if you're picking both, but what's out of those two, what are you picking first?
So first, I'm gonna go with the actual spread of the game. Again, this is personally a game that I wouldn't bet, but if I did have to pick the spread, I'm gonna have to go Baltimore minus 9.5. Look, ton of credit and ton of respect to what Tennessee did. They proved me wrong. They actually went into Foxborough. First of all, going into Foxborough is hard enough in itself, but to do that in a playoff environment, in a wild card round, it's unbelievable. And the way they did it,
all those cameras around,
and the way they did it was extremely impressive. This might have been the end of a dynasty. Actually, this actually might have been the end of a dynasty. And that's something that's going to have to be discussed later on in the near future. But we're talking about Baltimore, Tennessee. Tennessee, in my opinion, they're going to come out and they're going to run the ball a lot. Henry's a beast, man. Listen, they're definitely going to run the ball. But what people got to realize is that in that New England, Tennessee game, that game was 14-13 throughout most of the game. Don't let that 20-13, final score fool you. That was garbage time touchdown.
Nah, fuck that. He should have got a pick six earlier that game, man. So it still should have been 20-13.
He dropped that. I don't know. Listen, he did drop that. And
he's the number one ranked cornerback in football this year. So he don't usually drop that. I'm
gonna cut him a break because the defense played great. But then again, not trying to take away from that, from Tennessee's victory. But that offense of New England stink, and I could only imagine if they had an offense, they did have opportunities to win. And again, that's not taking away from Tennessee's victory because they did find ways to win. The same thing with Minnesota. It's not their fault that New England was making the mistakes. Why? Because Tennessee was capitalizing on them. I just can't find the reason why Baltimore can't cover the spread. I'll be reaching if I try to find for reasons for Baltimore to to lose this game. But with that being said, let's go Tennessee. I'm pulling for you guys. Let's get these dirty birds out of this.
Listen, now.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I actually do want to talk about the total.
All right, we'll get to the total in a second.
Yeah, we'll get to the total in a second.
We'll pick the games first, and then the total could be the extra.
Because I do like the total in this game.
So, listen, you guys can call me biased, but I did tell you that I thought we had a legitimate chance to win last week, and it did.
Yeah, flat out, right.
If you look over the last 3 weeks, I told you they were going to lose to Saints. I got that right by more than 4. I told you that they were going to dominate Houston and get into the playoffs. I got that right. I told you they were going to actually have a chance to beat New England, even though a lot of people thought that would have been crazy, and I got that right. I know how to call my own team.
Bias.
I do not think that, obviously, I'm not going to pick the money line to win the game, but I will say this. I think this is either going to be a blowout by Baltimore or Tennessee wins it outright. I don't think that Baltimore is going to win a close game. And with that said, I'm going to go with Tennessee to win the game. And the reason why is because they are, and listen, you have full right to not go with me. You can call me biased. You can not go with me. You can go with Dre's pick. But the reason I'm going with it is this is going to be, in my opinion, this is going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think Baltimore's offense is going to be able to do what they did during the regular season. During the regular season, offenses go crazy. We saw last week, we see offenses get shut down. We saw New Orleans get shut down. Tennessee has been averaging 30 points per game. We saw they only scored 20 points. In the playoffs is a different beast. That's what people don't understand, is that you can't look at just what people did in the regular season and say, all right, they're going to continue this in the playoffs. This is going to be different. I think it's low scoring, and it's going to be a fast game because Baltimore likes to run the ball, Tennessee likes to run the ball. So between that, it's going to be one of those games that is going to be done in the 3 hours. This is going to be one of those 4-hour games that goes on because everybody's passing the ball. Right. So with that said, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think Tennessee wins it 20-17 in that range, or 17-13. I really just think that if Tennessee just controls the run game, I don't think they'll be able to pass off Tennessee. I'll be very shocked if Lamar Jackson has 200 yards passing because I just don't think he'll be able to do it. All it has to do is shut down the run, and I think Tennessee, as they showed against New England, because they completely shut down the run every time they got in the red zone. They got at the goal line numerous times, and they couldn't run the ball. So Tennessee can stop the run, and I think they're going to be able to stop the run against Baltimore. So like I said, you have full right to pick the other team. You can call me biased, but I'm usually right on my team. I'm going to take those 9.5 points, and I'm going to take Tennessee.
Yeah, Pete, and just to jump in real quick to talk about the total. Look, I completely agree with you, guys, Pete. That's why I said earlier this is a game that I personally wouldn't put my money on, but I do love the total. That's why I am agreeing with Pete. I love the under this game. Both teams love to run the ball. Both teams are a running machine. They're going to run the clock on this game, guys. Like Pete said, this is going to be a quick in and out type of game. I love the under. The total's what? 46 and a half. I'll take that all day. I like that better than the spread.
I agree.
But like Pete said, I have a feeling that one of these teams that have that bye is going to come out cold. And look,
there will be one.
Look, there will be one team. And
if you look historically at the games, the team that has the bye wins 75% of the games. So they usually 3 out of 4 of them will win, but there's usually one that will have that hiccup.
And I don't know which team it is, but if I had to lean towards one of them right now, I'm kind of leaning towards Baltimore.
Yes.
Again, but that's not my official, prediction. That obviously not because I'm picking them to win. But as of right now, I'm leaning. It could be Baltimore. And again, I'm getting flashbacks from last season. And again, I know this is a completely different season.
It is.
But I just remember the time where Baltimore played Los Angeles Chargers. I know a better team again last season.
Lamar Jackson was god awful
and completely.
He had like
choked.
9 completions the entire
They
game.
completely choked. But again, this is a new season.
Yes. Lamar's completely different.
Guys, things could happen.
But it's the playoffs.
We saw some wild things happen last weekend.
Yeah.
It's a potential could happen this weekend. Again, my money's going towards the total. I agree with Pete. I love the under. This is gonna be a game that's gonna it's gonna wind out quick.
Yeah, like I said, when you run the ball, the clock is going to go fast. So I agree with the under 46.5. That would be my bonus pick. But
and that's my favorite pick, by the way.
yeah, that's it. That's his favorite pick. I'm just going to say that's
that's my best pick. I love that pick.
Moving into Sunday, actually, surprisingly, NFL didn't make it 1 and 4 o'clock for Sunday this time. They made it 3 and 6:30.
Oh wow, that's not bad.
So at 3 o'clock. We have the Kansas City Chiefs, 9.5 point favorite versus Houston. And I want to jump on this because this is actually my lock of the week.
Okay.
I think Kansas City, if you look at Andy Reid is the best coach in the league when it comes to coming off a bye. I think he only has 3 losses in his career coming off the bye. And he's been a coach for like 20 years.
Wow.
He knows how to prepare his team for that 1 week bye. And so the only question regarding this is if they're going to cover 9.5. I don't think Houston. First of all, Houston, I don't think should have even won last week to Buffalo. I thought Buffalo kind of threw that game away. They're going to try. They're probably going to. Houston is probably going to play better than they did last week. But I think Houston is going to run into like a buzzsaw this week. I think KC's. I said don't listen to the regular season with points and how they score, but I'm looking back at last year. KC is experienced. They've been to the playoffs. They scored points in the playoffs. And I think Mahomes is ready to go nuts this week. I think he throws for probably about 4 touchdowns. I think they put up 30-plus points. And I think they will cover that 9.5 point spread. What do you think, Trey?
I completely agree with you. I do like Kansas City to cover this 9.5 point spread. I know Pete said don't look at the regular season. I can't help but look at the regular season, especially when these two teams have already faced off. Look, guys, the first time they faced off, I know Houston won. But they won in a shootout. Look, for me, I've always said it. In order to beat Houston, you have to outscore them. Unfortunately for the Bills, I mean, damn man, they
Bills should have won.
They should not only have won, but they were lucky to have a 16-point lead with the offense that they do have because they don't have that good of an offense.
Yeah.
And like I said, in order to beat Houston, you have to outscore them. And I mean, again, that was that game. I don't know what happened. Again, they're still a young team. They'll be good next season. But Houston should have lost that game. They found a way to win. They gave them new life. This is gonna be a shootout. Guys. My second best pick or whatever. Also look at the over, which is 51 points. The first game was a shootout. In order for Kansas City to beat Houston, in which they will, in my opinion, and they will cover that 10-point spread, it has to be a shootout. This game has honestly, I could see Kansas City possibly getting up to 40 points maybe. Again, this is going to be a big time game. If you guys want to see some high scoring game, this might be one of the games that reaches a lot of points, in my opinion. I'm going to have to roll Kansas City -9.5 and the over 51 points.
I'm gonna hold off on the over/under with my pick. The reason why is I'm still not confident that Houston is going to do that much this game. I definitely agree with you with the KC part, but I think they really could blow out Houston and this could get ugly. So I'm a little worried about Houston putting up, let's say, 17, 20 points to get them to 51.
It's just Deshaun. It's weird. Like Deshaun Watson just finds ways at the end, and he does it time and time again. To just finds way to put his team back in position to win.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's
but
what
if you're
gonna
down
do.
if you're down 20, 25 points in the fourth quarter, he won't be looking for that.
Yeah. And before you guys pull the trigger on that on this over.
Like, imagine if it's 30-10 in the fourth quarter. Like, I mean, it could just die out right there.
Yeah, it's true. Or we could get flashbacks of that New England Kansas City game where they scored like 20 points in like the last 3 minutes. But like I was just saying real quick before you guys pull the trigger on that total on the Houston and Chiefs game. Me personally, I would wait till Sunday and just check the weather. Again, it is January. Who knows what the wind, if it's gonna snow. I remember last season it snowed for the Kansas City game.
Yo, KC could score in the fucking snow.
Yeah,
we saw them put up like 40 points in the snow.
Well, we know they can. I don't know about Houston. So that's just something to keep in mind.
All right. So with that said, we go to the last game of the weekend, NFL. Green Bay Packers -4 against Seattle. What do you think, Ray?
Another tricky game. Another game that I personally wouldn't touch. I do like Green Bay to win this game. They've been the better team. Seattle to me has just been that team that they're just in unnecessary close games. With certain teams that they shouldn't have any business being in close games with. Now,
there've been a lot of one-score games this year.
And look, not to take credit away from Philadelphia. On the contrary, I want to give them credit for not only making it to the playoffs.
Philadelphia should have beat them. They went and throw 4 passes to get knocked out in the first quarter.
No, exactly. So what I'm trying to say is that look, despite all the injuries, McCown coming in and all that, look,
Who did a better job?
they still they actually actually. So they might have. It was still a one possession game the whole time, and again, that says a lot. Again, credit to Philly. Next year we'll see what happens with them. But like I said, Seattle are always in unnecessary close games, and they have no business being in.
Yeah.
With that being said, I still think this will be a close game. I like Green Bay to win this game, but I think Seattle's going to cover this 4 points. I think Green Bay wins in a field goal. This might be one of those games that the last team that has the ball runs the field, goes down the field, kicks the field goal, and wins the game. I think that'll be Green Bay. Again, maybe by 2-3 points, but that's just enough for Seattle to cover the +4.
I'm going to go the opposite way and say that Green Bay wins this. It's tough to play in Lambeau Field in the playoffs.
And it's back-to-back road games, so that's going to be hard too.
Yeah, and this is back-to-back games where you're leaving the West Coast. So that's going to take a toll on their body. I think it's going to come down during the second half. I think it'll be close during the first half, and I think in the second half you'll see Green Bay pull away to win by a touchdown, maybe even 10 points. So I just think people have been hard on the Packers offense all year. The defense has been great, but their offense has been kind of sketchy.
Inconsistent.
I think
that's why I wouldn't touch this game personally.
I think this is the game they break out. Rodgers, this is for Rodgers' playoff time.
Yeah.
He's a number 2 seed.
Absolutely.
He has a bye. Everybody talks about there's 2 quarterbacks in the NFL that are great quarterbacks, but they only have 1 Super Bowl. Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers.
That's right.
Drew Brees is gone. This is just Rodgers' showdown.
I can't believe, man, they choked so many times, man. It's unbelievable.
Listen, we'll get to down to those in Mexico. I want to go off on the Saints.
Me too. You're right. I'm sorry.
But in this game, I think it's going to be one of those games that Rodgers goes off, throws for 3 touchdowns. I think the way I saw how Seattle played last week, I'm just not happy with how they're playing right now. So I can't endorse picking them even to keep it close. So I'm going to go with the Packers to win -4.
This could be a blowout too, by the way, actually. So, to piggyback off of what Pete said earlier in the that Tennessee-Baltimore game where he said either, Baltimore blows them out or Tennessee just wins outright. I think this might be one of those games too where either Green Bay's going to blow them out or this is going to be a tight game that could go either way. But it's going to be a fun one, man. I can't wait for these games. This is probably like one of the biggest sports weekend, other than the Super Bowl.
Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Oh my God.
And with that said, we go to the Monday game. We move
Wow,
on to the national
man.
championship game. The game that we picked
We did call
to
this
be
final.
in this national championship.
Yup.
For Dave.
Yeah, except for Dave.
Wow.
Nah, Dave picked it too. But the point is now we are finally here. We got, in my opinion, the two best quarterbacks in college football. Unfortunately, one of them can't come out till next year. But LSU minus 5.5 versus Clemson, the team that hasn't lost in 2 years. What do you think is going to happen? Monday night.
Listen, all right, so
Sunshine.
my prediction, and I'm going to give you two bangers real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The over, it's going to be a shootout. The over 69.5. And I think Clemson's going to take this one. I like Clemson to win. Obviously, if they're going to win, they're going to cover that plus 5.5, which I would love for you guys to take the points. Because this is going to be a game where, again, last team that has possession, wins the game. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong, P. When was the last time a championship game like this has, been a blowout? I mean, at least in recent years. Was it last year?
Last
year,
year, because
right?
Clemson blew the hell out of Alabama.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they blew out Alabama. Before that, there were a couple close ones.
Look, respect to LSU. Again, personally, if I had to play this game, again, I would take the points. If you guys want to take money line, I couldn't be mad with you. But again, it's a fun game. Look, if anything, man, I know we're giving out bets, man. But look, if you guys could just sit back, don't bet this game and enjoy it. It's gonna be a fun game.
No, I'm telling you to bet it.
hey, listen,
Forget that.
Take the over, people. But like I said, if you guys just want to enjoy this game without stressing out, because I know a lot of people will be stressing out. Probably me and Pete.
Maybe Dave.
Maybe and the producer, but I love Clemson. I think they're gonna win another one, and again, man, who knows? LSU could pull it off. They have every reason to pull it off.
This is one of those games where literally, even before we came on the air,
And it's gonna be a shootout, man.
In terms of who I think is gonna win it, you can't really decide.
I could see both teams putting
And
up
because of
close
that,
to 30.
and because of that,
and a half.
and because of that, I'm not going to tell you who I think is going to win.
Whoa,
because
you're not gonna bring in
you
the
know
mute
why?
like that.
You know why? Because this is a betting show, and I'm going to say that Clemson will cover that 5.5 spread. So I completely agree with you. If you want to know who I'm forced to pick, I will tell you on Two Dudes and the Mexican.
Stay
so you
tuned.
better tune in for that.
Stay tuned.
But for betting purposes, I say you got to go with Cleveland. I say take the
Cleveland?
5.5. Cleveland. Oh, CLE.
Whoa.
I have CLE written here. Clemson.
Whoa.
Yeah, listen, Joe Burrow is from
He said Rams
Joe Burrow is from
earlier, and then
Ohio.
he said Cleveland. He's getting these like bad flashbacks
Joe
from the
Burrow,
team that screwed him
Joe
all
Burrow's
season.
from Ohio. I know Cleveland will take him right
Okay.
now.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
But listen, Clemson, I think, is going to be able to cover that 5.5 point spread. If they lose, it'll be a 3-point game either way. So I think that I'm going to go with Clemson plus 5.5.
Okay, so we both agree on the plus 5.5.
In terms of the over, this will probably, we're not doing secondly underdog and all that stuff, second pick of the week, but this would have been my second pick of the week. I think this is clearly going to be an over game. You got in my opinion, the two best quarterbacks in college football. The defenses are not great. They're good, but they're not great. And I think both teams are going to put up probably near to 40 points. So,
Like I was saying before, Pete, went into his pick. I think both teams are capable, and I think probably both teams will put up at least 30 right before half.
you know what would be messed up? If this game ends up being like 38-31, so everybody pushes on that.
Well, it's half.
Both-
Remember,
like-
it's 69.5, so they'll lose.
Well, no, currently, as of right now, it's 69.
Okay.
So, I mean, whether it moves a point or not, both teams could score 30, and because even if it is 1 point over and it goes to 70, it could be 39-31.
We can see some OT in this game,
The
too.
point is, if it goes to OT, then it's definitely going
know it's
over.
gonna be a shootout.
It's definitely going to go
Both
over.
teams will score.
I think this is one of those games that I do actually think it will go to OT. I'm still not telling you who I think it'll win, but I just think that Clemson is going to find a way to be close at least.
And I don't know what the odds are. I don't know what the odds are on the overtime. But if the odds are good, guys, put something light on that. Who knows?
Yeah, because this could
Because
be
I agree
definitely
with
an
Pete. I
overtime
agree
game.
with Pete. This might be an overtime type of game too.
So with that said, next time we see you, we'll be talking about who won the playoff games. We'll talk about the national champion,
Right. Yup.
and we will start getting into some other things as sports goes on. We will always get you with everything, whether it's boxing, whether it's baseball. We'll always get you. So
Got you.
with that said, we'll catch you next week. And all these
Flags
guys are about
everywhere.
to go on the pier. Peace out. Go watch Two Dudes and Mexican
That's
too.
it. Coming up.